What's good, everybody? It's Joe, and I come back at you with another video. So I want this video to serve as wisdom for anyone out there who wants to be, do, have, accomplish something, a goal, dream, aspiration, desire, whatever it is, and they just don't know how it's going to happen, don't know how it's going to unfold. I just want to have this video serve as comfort for you to let you know that it's okay to be in that position, because we're always going to be in that position in our lives. Now, I'm not saying that this is for every single case, every single scenario, but if there's a destination somewhere you want a dream that's worthwhile, right? Then, of course, there are going to be parts where you don't know how, you don't know the action steps, you don't know the route. But the most important part is to just have that picture in your mind, have the end goal, have the destination there, and just have confidence and belief that somehow, some way, you'll be guided in that direction, right? And there still might be some some logical steps that you can take to still head there, right? At least for me, of course, there's certain things I want to be, do, have, accomplish, right? And there's components of it where I just don't know how. I don't know how I'm gonna get, how it's gonna unfold. But who cares, right? And I add that last part of who cares because at the end of the day, I know that everything somehow, some way ends up working itself out. It might be the same case with you, right? At least for me in my life, I'm fine. I'm healthy. Everything's going well. Like, there's nothing going wrong. So I've made it this far. And some of the events that happened in my life where I thought like everything was going bad and, we have to hit the emergency button, and ended up somehow, some way working itself out, and everything is fine where I'm at. So I know from life experience that everything ends up working itself out. And to me, I understand that there's always going to be a destination that we're striving for. And so there's always going to be a journey to get there. And the journey should always be the most exciting part, because it's going from where you're at now to arriving at your destination. And sometimes the destination can seem so far from where you're at currently, but that's what makes it fun, getting from here to there. If it's a journey that's worthwhile, right, something that will fill you with purpose, or taking you on a big shift from where you like your current reality to like your destination, where you want to be, if that is a major shift, then that should be a worthwhile journey. Then it should be fun to get there. And you shouldn't worry about everything, all the details in between, because details in between is not your job, right? You can leave that to higher power that will orchestrate everything. Now, some of you might be sort of like questioning that, right? But this is why you shouldn't, right? Because if you think about it, like, let me use this as an example, right? Think of all the senses that you have, right? Your taste, touch, smell, everything that you can perceive with your senses, everything that exists in your reality, right? All the information that you know about yourself, your situation, everything that's happening in your life that you're aware of as far as your situation, everything, that literally makes up less than 0.0000001, or even smaller than that, of what's actually happening in the entire world, right? You don't know what's happening in your neighbor's life, right? You don't know what's happening right now at this second of someone's life in another state or another country or another part of the world, right? But obviously they're living their lives. We're all each individually living our own lives. So what I mean by that is, you're aware of your situation and everything that's happening in your situation, but because everyone else is living their lives and everything else around the world is happening around us that we're just not aware of, those are literally thousands, millions, trillions, billions of variables that are being moved and orchestrated around the world. Literally trillions. If there's a word that's bigger than trillion, we will use that, right? Like, trillions of variables that are happening at once, that are lining itself up for you. So this is why you don't need to know how, because people, events, and circumstances will be aligned for you, will be lined up for you to deliver you whatever it is that you want, right? And obviously these are all things that we're not aware of, that our senses can't pick up, that is going to line itself up for you. So you don't even have to worry about it. And of course, at the same time, at least I've learned from my life experience that somehow, some way, everything ends up working itself out in the end. So if things quote unquote seem bad or quote unquote seem like they're falling apart, that's not actually the case. If it is, then that just means you haven't made it to the end yet. That you're probably just dealing with, some brief adversity. But in actuality, everything's going to work itself out and everything's going to be fine. And there's plenty of instances where we have an ideal case scenario as far as how we think something should pan out, and then things happen completely differently than what we had envisioned and end up being significantly better than what we had in our minds. And it'll have been orchestrated to a point where it'll seem so like detailed that you wouldn't even be able to think of something panning itself out the way it did perfectly, right? Like we've all experienced something like that in our lives, where we had our minds made up. This is what I want, and this is how it needs to happen, and it doesn't end up happening that way, but it ends up delivering us exactly what we wanted, and it ended up being in a much better fashion than we could have ever anticipated. Everyone has a story like that. I don't even have to go into detail because I'm sure me saying that, you can probably think of an insane scenario where it just felt like all the dominoes just fell and everything happened perfectly for you. This is why for all things, doesn't matter what it is. Of course, you watching this video, you're someone, right? You're a human being. You want something, you desire something, and you may not know how to get there. It might be a major dream that you have. You may not know the route. That's okay. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't head in that direction. You should head in that direction. You should do what you think you can to head in that direction, because obviously as you take action and progress towards it, you'll probably feel better about the goal. You'll probably begin to develop confidence and belief in yourself, that you'll begin to think that it's more possible, it's more likely to happen, so you should certainly do that. But the methods and the actions that you're taking towards that may not be how it ends up being delivered to you, right? Those actions may end up just putting you on another path to the actual route of how you're expecting to get there, right? So it's okay to not know how. There's certain things in my life that I just don't know how. I don't know how it's going to unfold for me. I don't. And if anything, I may not even have evidence in my life of even breadcrumbs of how something's gonna happen. Or it may be that I'm just receiving counter evidence towards whatever it is that I believe I want or I desire, right? It could be that I'm just receiving counter evidence. But to me, I don't really care and I don't really worry, because I know everything's gonna be fine in the end, and somehow, some way, whatever it is that I want is going to be delivered to me. Because I've learned throughout my life that the things that I want, what I want out of my life, will end up making its way to me, and I'll end up having it one way or another. So there's no reason for me to worry. There's no reason for me to stress. I can just go about my day having fun, enjoying my life, enjoying this existence, because it's inevitable for me to get wherever it is that I'm heading towards, right? It's inevitable for me to get there. Similar to this topic of not knowing how, right? The I don't know how, but who cares, right? That same idea can also be explained in a different fashion, right? It can be explained with the following quote of, when it comes to life, you want to care, but not that much, right? You want to care, but not that much. And of course, what that means is that you want to care, right? You want to at least know what you want, what it is that you want to be, do, have, accomplish, what it is that you want to head to in life. You want that, right? You want to have that at least be the baseline. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want any direction for your life, right? You should definitely want direction. But when you shouldn't care not that much, that essentially means that you're open to the possibilities. You're open to the infinite, the unlimited possibilities on how to get there. And you understand that the process or the idea that you had in mind may not always be the best route, because the route that you had in mind of how you think you're going to get there, that's just you using your mind, your ideas, everything. It's using all the information that you picked up on, and you're trying to essentially funnel it into one route. You're just trying to get there with what you know. And obviously, as humans, that's very logical, right? It's like I can only use what I know to get to wherever it is I want to be. Cool, I understand that. Problem is that the universe, when working with the universe, is infinite number of possibilities, right? Because there's virtually an infinite number of variables that exist that you're just not aware of, that none of your senses can pick up. So this is why you need to have confidence and belief in yourself and the universe, and be able to trust that there's a higher power working with you and for you to deliver you what you want. And I know it can seem a little scary at first because you're like, well, why should I trust it? But my response to that is, why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you believe? Because you've had instances, I'm sure you've had instances in your life where events just unfolded for you perfectly that you just can't explain. And once again, there's literally trillions of variables at play at all times. So if something lines up perfectly, it can't just be that it's just all coincidence, right? That's like extremely unlikely. So for me, it's like I care, but not that much, because I'm open to possibilities. And if something happens in my life or unfolds in my life, then that means it was meant to happen. It was meant to be part of my experience. And that's okay. Things that happen aren't good or bad. They just are. And we're the ones that assign meaning to it. So I know that my future is full of surprises and joy. And that's what makes life fun, right? Being able to wake up and being excited for what's next, for what's new, for what's going to unfold in life. That's what makes life fun. You have something to look forward to. You have something that's different, something that's unique. Not just the same old, right? If you wake up with that mentality, like I wake up and I know something's good is gonna happen today, then something's good is gonna happen today. Something new is gonna unfold for you. And that's a blessing. So once again, it's okay to not know how, because who cares, right? Where the point of life, the point of the journey is to have fun and enjoy this. And you want to experience as many different things as possible so that you can know what you do like, so that it can shape your experience, and then you can decide how you want to move on from there. So once again, you want to care about life, you want to care, right? But not that much, right? Just be open to the possibility. Be open that there's so many ways for something to be delivered to you. Be open that there's so many routes, an infinite number of routes and possibilities to get to where it is that you want to head to. And all you want to do is just put one foot in front of the other, because at the end of the day, somehow, some way, everything always works itself out. So there's no reason for you to care that much if something doesn't go according to plan. Because in your mind, you can think everything falling apart, but in actuality, everything could be going according to plan. It's just not your plan, but it's the plan that was meant to happen to deliver you exactly what it is that you want. So have belief, have faith. Everything's fine and everything's gonna work itself out. So I don't know how, but who cares? So once again, this is Joel, and I see you guys for the next video.